Section 1 of a Rubaiyat Miscellany. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For further information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Algy Pug. Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam by Edward Fitzgerald. Author's final revision, with the literal Omar, being a version of those quatrains of the original upon which Fitzgerald's poem was based, edited by Arthur Guiterman, with 8 illustrations by Gilbert James. Paul Elder and Company, Publishers, San Francisco, 1909. The Preface. About the middle of the 11th century, perhaps a dozen years before the Battle of Hastings, Omar Khayyam, or, to give him his full title, Ghiyas-ud-Din Abu Fakhr Omar in Ibrahim al-Khayyam, was born in the city of Naishapur, in the province of Khorasan, in the ancient and somewhat decadent kingdom of Persia. Omar's surname, Khayyam, meaning tent-maker, descended to him from his father, and the theory that he ever practised his paternal or ancestral calling is hardly countenanced by the poet's own whimsical allusion to his name in the oft-quoted quatrain: Khayyam, who stitched the tents of learning, falling into grief's furnace, lies burned to ashes. The knife of fate hath cut the tent-ropes of his life, and the broker of hope hath sold him for a song. Though there are conflicting opinions, it is popularly accepted that Omar was educated in his native city at the school of a renowned priest and teacher, the Imam Mowaffaq, in fellowship and sworn brotherhood with 2 schoolmates, who were destined to figure prominently in the annals of their time. The first of these was Hasan ibn Ali, later known as the Nizam-ul-Mulk, that is, regulator of the state, or vizier to the Sultan Up Ashlan and Malik Shah. The other was Hasan ben Sabah, afterwards infamous as the Sheikh al-Jabal, or Old Man of the Mountains, of the Crusaders, founder and chief of that terrible sect, the Assassins. The 3 boys mutually vowed that whichever one of them should attain to power would share his good fortune with the others. So it was that when Hasan ibn Ali became chief administrator of the state, he offered Omar the governorship of Naishapur and the adjacent districts. The poet, however, had no political ambitions, and desired only the means to enable him to pursue his scientific researches without care for the morrow. His friend therefore granted him a substantial pension, in the enjoyment of which he spent his remaining days at Naishapur, occupied with the study of the sciences, especially mathematics and astronomy. He was greatly honoured by Sultan Malik Shah, and was one of the 8 scientists employed by that ruler in the important work of reforming the Mohammedan calendar, a task that he and his associates performed with great success. He was the author of various mathematical, astronomical, and meteorological pamphlets and tables of high repute, and there are extant quaint stories which exalt him as an astrologer and weather prophet of parts, although the narrators of these tales admit that Omar himself placed small faith in forecasts of future events. Indeed, several incidents make it appear that Omar had a far keener sense of humour than most of his contemporaries, and was not above a joke at the expense of the literal-minded. He died in A.D. 1123, and was buried near the wall of the cemetery of Naishapur, where the extended boughs of the fruit trees in an adjoining garden, blossoming at different seasons, repeatedly covered his tomb with heaps of their dropped flowers, thus fulfilling his prophecy, recorded by a loving pupil: "My grave will be in a spot where the trees will shed their blossoms on me twice a year." There are said to be, in various known manuscripts, about 1200 rubaiyat or quatrains ascribed to Omar, though many of these are admittedly spurious, some having evidently been interpolated by scribes or scholars to voice their dissent from the poet's heretical views. Each rubai is really a distinct poem. In the Persian manuscripts the quatrains are grouped alphabetically, that is, according to the terminal letters of the rhymed lines, and with no reference to their meaning or subject. Fitzgerald, in his beautiful version
Sample complete. Ready to continue?